Hi, it's Erica with Presence and Parenting. This video, I wanted to break down something that I've been talking a lot about lately in other videos, and I'm always talking about in my classes, which is what we're actually seeing when we see behavior in our child. How do we start to understand our child's behavior? I always talk about it in terms of that there's things deeper. We have to see what's under the behavior. In the breakthrough parenting class that I teach, I got a great little visual that I want to share with you about how to think about this kind of what's under the behavior comment. Okay, so Freud came up with this idea of using an iceberg to describe his model of the unconscious. So consciousness would be on the top, and then he had his id, ego, and superego underneath. This idea of the iceberg has been used by many people since then. I'm not actually sure if he's the one who came up with it or he just made it really popular and then put his id, ego, and superego under it. We're going to use this idea of an iceberg to talk about the source of behavior. So on the top here, if you can see this little part of the iceberg, that's the behavior. And the top is the part that we can see. So behavior of one child hitting another, or behavior of child in the middle of the floor in a Starbucks having a tantrum, or behavior of watching a child actually look at another child and walk over to them and start to console them and try and help them to feel better. So we're not just talking about negative behaviors, we're talking about all behaviors. There's the part that we can see. Notice on this diagram, and this is why I wanted to use this diagram in this video, notice how small the top is. The top is pretty small compared to everything else that's under, okay? And if you know anything about icebergs, the iceberg that you actually see on the top of the water is mostly so much smaller than what's underneath. And what's actually driving that iceberg and moves it around in the ocean is everything that's underneath, kind of weighing it down, working with the currents and gravity. Okay, so we are talking about deeper things when we're talking about under the surface of the water. So here we have feelings, thoughts, and needs. These three things are the things that we talk about in breakthrough parenting that are under behavior, that are driving the behavior, okay? What is the child feeling? What are they thinking? And what do they need? Okay, so these are the important things for us as the parent, as the detective, to try and figure out when we're seeing a behavior in our child and we're trying to understand where it's coming from. Now, this isn't just with little children. This is children of all ages. This is adults. These are your coworkers. These are your partners. These are your parents. When you see somebody's behavior, this applies to everybody. This is human nature right here in a nutshell. When you see somebody's behavior, there are all of these other things underneath the behavior that are actually driving that behavior. And most of the time, we are unconscious about what's happening. In the moment that we are having a behavior, it's very rare, even as adults, that we're thinking about what am I feeling? We're actually thinking about what am I thinking? And definitely a difficult question to ask yourself, even as an adult, is what do I need? Try and answer that one. That's a good homework assignment. Try and answer, what do you need? So when we're looking at a child's behavior, we want to ask those questions. Now, most of the time, what are they feeling or what are they thinking? It's going to be really difficult for us to know unless we check in with them, unless we have conversation with them, unless we can get something back from them. So when we are talking about young children, that's going to be more difficult. When we're talking about older children, if we're not sure, go back to use the big, wonderful W word of I wonder. I wonder when I see you doing this, what's happening inside. Now, this doesn't mean that Erica's saying go ahead and go up to your child and say, what are you thinking? That's not going to work. Okay, that's really not going to work because, as I just said, when they're in that moment of doing a behavior, they're probably unconscious about what they're thinking. They don't know what it is that they're thinking. They're probably not skilled in figuring out how they feel and then being able to communicate that to you in words. And they definitely don't know what they need. So, as the adult, as the parent, what I find useful is to go for the bottom one, to go for the deepest one, to go for what might my child need right now. Now, again, this goes from infants all the way through to adolescents and beyond, your adult children. Same thing. What's the need? What's the need that needs to be met? Now, I've already done a separate video about human needs. Short little recap. I used Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is a pyramid. The lower needs are physical and survival needs. Is my child feeling hungry, tired, sick, cold, hot? Is there something physically that's going on with them? Okay. The next needs up in the pyramid layer is safety and security needs. Does my child feel emotionally safe and secure right now? Or is something kind of freaking them out? Are they feeling nervous about something? Are they not feeling like we're in a place where they are safe and secure? That's a big clue as to what's driving their behavior. The need on top of that one would be social and love needs. Does my child feel like they belong here? So if you see more pro-social behaviors, more behaviors like I alluded to of a child going over and consoling another child, a child, interacting in the world where it looks like they feel full enough to actually be doing things with and for other people, that's more pro-social behaviors, then those needs are being met. They feel like they're physically safe, they're emotionally safe, and that they belong in this environment. Okay, so social love needs. On top of those are going to be our self-esteem and appreciation needs. Self-esteem is a whole other thing. I will make a video here, but again, the Breakthrough Parenting Program goes over each of these more in depth. The appreciation and self-esteem needs are vital to all human beings. Again, yeah, maybe I belong here, but does anybody really care? Does anybody appreciate what I'm bringing to the table? Do people appreciate who I am? Do people actually see me for who I am? Do people here in this environment know who I am? So all behaviors can be broken down into these needs. The top one of the top of the pyramid is called self-actualization, Maslow's term, for basically living a really full life, meaning that you have your needs met, and now you can go out in the world and actually help others meet their need. You can help meet the needs of the planet that we're living on. That you're not in relationships with other people and in environments where you're seeking to meet those lower needs that we just talked about. So behavior will definitely fit into any part of this pyramid. And when you're thinking about how am I going to understand what my child is doing here, what is that behavior, the easiest way I think, instead of thinking what are they feeling, what are they thinking, is to go for what do they need, because here we have 5 different needs that we can look at and we can kind of go through again as a detective to figure out how are they feeling physically. Are they feeling secure? Do they feel like they belong? Are they feeling like this is a social environment, and are they feeling loved? Are they feeling appreciated? Is their self-esteem bucket, as I like to say, full? And are they feeling, self-actualized? There are different ways that people can show that they actually have their needs met, and now they can go out into the world and help others meet their needs. Most people don't live there all the time. Nobody has any part of these needs met and then, oh, I'm done with meeting my needs. No, this is a daily experience. We go up and down in the pyramid quite often. And as a parent, you can learn which behaviors coincide with which needs, and if you meet the need, the behavior will change. If it's a behavior, a more pro-social behavior, that's an indicator to you knowing, okay, that need is met in this moment. Tomorrow might be another day. All right? So I hope that this helped to enlighten us a little bit on what is the source of behavior. How do we start to understand what's under the behavior? How do we know what a child is trying to show us and tell us? Because again, these lower thoughts, feelings, and needs are unconscious. So it's our job as the parent to figure out where are they coming from right now, and if it's a behavior that they need help with, what do they need? How do we meet the need? If it's a behavior that's actually showing us that those needs are met, then we reflect that back to them. Hey, you were really feeling good about yourself when you went over there and you were able to help that person help feel better. That was really something special that you just did. And you reflect that back to them, again, hitting on that self-esteem and appreciation part, that they are doing what they can do and that they can be the best them that they can be. All right, I hope this shed light on behavior. Comment below, ask me specific questions. If you're seeing behaviors that are confusing to you and your children, I'm happy to help you figure it out. All right, take care.